Hi, it's Tony Marino, host of the super popular Newsmax Daily podcast, a rundown of the day's top headlines and top highlights of Newsmax shows and interviews you may have missed, plus some sports, stock markets, and even some yucks, all packed into about 20 minutes. Search for the Newsmax Daily with me, Tony Marino, on your favorite podcast platform, and check out our entire lineup of great podcasts, including Greg Kelly, Rob Carson, and Jerry Callahan at newsmax.com/listen.
You are about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. Hello and welcome to Monday. How are you? Man, I got to tell you, I've been in here for like 5-6 hours. I'm still digging through all of the stuff to get to the show today. Honestly, my kingdom for a slow news day. Unfortunately, we don't have that. The ICE agents have been deployed to airports around the country to help because so many TSA agents are being used as pawns by the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party doesn't give a rat's behind if people go without a paycheck because they never have to worry about it. They never have to worry about it because they're the bourgeoisie and we're the proletariat, so the little people can eat crumbs. They don't care. They just don't care. So Donald Trump says, okay, we'll send some ICE agents in there. And Democrats are saying really, really stupid crap. Like, for instance, that ICE agents are going to start killing people in America. Dick Blumenthal, Da Nang Dick, on Sunday said that ICE agents are going to shoot and kill families in airports. Honestly, shut your darn mouth. I could say things a lot worse, but I'm not going to do that right now. How dare you say such a thing? What an absurd and ridiculous thing to say, that ICE agents are going to go to America's airports and shoot families and whatnot. And I've got a bunch of audio from these idiots, these fear mongers who are so terrified that they're being uncovered for all of their malfeasance and their absolute corruption and what they did to our country by opening the southern border and allowing illegals by the tens of millions to come in. It's very obvious. Everybody gets it now. Even Democrats know now that the Democrat Party opened the southern border to destroy the country and to perpetuate their power for decades to come. We all get it. We all understand it. And every one of your stupid arguments makes it more obvious that what you have done to us. And we are going to beat you into the pits of hell. That's it. We're going to drive you into the pits of hell where you belong for all of the awful things that you have done. And the Democrat Party is against Trump on everything, regardless of how good it is about closing the southern border. They haven't said anything good about the southern border being closed. They haven't said anything about the murder rate being the lowest in 126 years, for God's sake. Every weekend, we no longer hear that, a dozen people have been murdered in Chicago. We don't hear that anymore. Washington, D.C. is remarkable. I went into Georgetown. It was a ghost town, 6-7 months ago, and now it's loaded with people. And then, of course, there's the war or the whatever you want to call it, with Iran, that more and more people, including the EU, including NATO, are realizing, oh yeah, Iran was a real threat, a real threat, yeah. Including they were able to launch a missile, and it went to our air base. It's not our air base, it's Britain's air base, in Diego Garcia, about 2,000 miles. And the people in Europe are beginning to realize, holy hell, if it could hit Diego Garcia, it could hit Paris. Oh my God, it could hit Paris. It looks like Iran has been lying to us about missiles and stuff. So Donald Trump, once again, is right, and the world is beginning to, recognize this. I understand that Donald Trump has called off the destruction of the power plants in the country of Iran because Iran right now has its tail between its legs. Here's the president being asked about a ceasefire and explaining exactly what happens when a ceasefire is demanded. It's always demanded by who? The side who's getting their butts kicked.
Hopefully is calling for a ceasefire in Italy.
Maybe we won't have that. I'm going to get that in 1 second. We will try to get that played. But anyway, he's called for a ceasefire because the Iranians are getting their tails kicked up between their legs. I will have to figure out what's wrong with my audio source here before the end of the radio program. Oh, I know exactly what it is. It's this right here. Here is the president of the United States talking about all of this as my software freezes up on me. Okay, I'll get out of the software for a second, restart that 1 second. And then Iran is getting its tail kicked up between its legs. And whenever you're losing, that's when you
He said that the talks have been ongoing. I said, how much longer will this conflict go on? He said the talks, I said 5 days to halt or postpone strikes on the electrical infrastructure. It could happen sooner, he said, but I have put down 5 days. I asked him what his reaction is to Iranian state television saying that there are no talks, and he said he's not sure what they are referring to because the most recent talks happened, in fact, last night with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and their counterparts. When I asked about the Iranian TV saying that no talks have happened, he said it's hard to get any information there because of the U.S. is blowing up so much of their infrastructure. So, again, he wasn't sure what Iran state TV was talking about because the most recent talks, he said, happened last night with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. Again, the president just told me moments ago that the Iranians want to do a deal badly.
Okay, so there you go. That's the reason why Donald Trump has is stopped and given 5 days to the Iranians with regard to the destroying of their energy infrastructure. He's given them a little bit of breathing room. Hopefully, this will result in them stepping down from power and ushering in some sort of democracy. This is Lindsey Graham yesterday talking about the end of the Ayatollah.
What are you going to negotiate Iran with? What I want to do is contain them, take their missile program and keep it blown up. Make sure they can never sprint out to a nuke. Make sure they have no money to support terrorism. Control the island and let them die on a vine, and hopefully the people will rise up. What I'm looking for is defanging Iran so we can move to peace. The Iranian people one day will have ability to take their country back, but we have the
that's got to happen.
Best chance in 2,000 years when Iran is neutralized for Saudi and Israel to recognize each other in the Arab-Israeli conflict. That is my goal. That is President Trump's goal. 2026 could be the biggest year since 1945. If we neutralize Iran, Don't let them do it again.
Now, I'm hearing that echoed more and more in the media and on the conservative media. Victor Davis Hanson, I've got another great piece from him over the weekend. And I told you when Donald Trump was elected, I said, when he gets elected, what'd I tell you? I said a new era of freedom and patriotism was going to spread around the world. And it's happening. And it's happening. And it's happening. There's no denying that it is happening. There are still some holdups around the world. Great Britain is still in deep agua, hot agua. Germany is starting to recognize the invasion that has happened in so many countries around the world, just like it happened here in the United States. Wholesale invasion of illegals, especially radical Islamists. Australia is beginning to recognize this. The United States has recognized this. And it appears that we may have turned this back just in the brink of time. All right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. I'm going to reboot everything here. Apologize for the little bump there. I think I kind of did a pretty good job improvising while the computer was melting down. But we're going to get to all of this. We got 3 guests today we're going to get to, including Blaine Holt. He's going to join us, General Blaine Holt, on the progress of what's happening in Iran, how close we are to wrapping this thing up. The number here is 800-922-6680 if you want to chime in. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
Might be headed to paradise. Surrendering might be good advice. Bombs over my head. Headed our way. Leadership has been taken down. Maybe we should get out of town. Bombs over my head. Yes, we are doomed. Trump says he will take us out, and we'll be history. Has not left any doubt that a bomb is headed for me. The Ayatollah has said bye-bye. His successor's an endangered guy. Bombs over my head. Not long for this world.
With talent on loan from God. And have my brain tied behind my back, to be fair.
You were the sunshine of our life, Rush. That's why we'll miss you oh so much.
You know, I'm the mayor of Realville here.
You cut down liberals like a knife, Rush.
El Rushball.
Forever you'll be number one.
I am Rush Limbaugh, household name.
America needed a hero
in all 4 corners of the world.
And then you came to our rescue.
The Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies.
Competition, you had 0. How could so much talent be inside of you?
And don't doubt it.
You were the sunshine of our life, Rush. That's why we listened every day.
That's it. It's not much more complicated than that.
You helped us get through all the strife, Rush. No one will ever take your place, because Rush was the sunshine of our life, of our life, of our life.
Meeting and surpassing all audience expectations every day behind this Golden EIB microphone. With talent on loan from God. have my brain tied behind my back, to be fair.
You were the sunshine of our life. Rush. That's why we'll miss you oh so much.
You know, I'm the mayor of Realville here.
You cut down liberals like a knife. Rush.
El Rushball.
Forever you'll be number one.
I am Rushball, household name.
The Rob Carson Show podcast is everywhere. Go to newsmax.com/listen for details.
And it's a Monday on the Rob Carson Show, and we got a lot of balls in the air, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of balls in the air. This is Victor Davis Hanson over the weekend, giving an update as to where we are with regard to the war in Iran. And I'll tell you, and I just did a video on all my social media about this. You know that you are winning when NATO and the EU says they want to help out all of a sudden. They're such fair weather friends. You have to realize that they would never come in to do any heavy lifting. They would never want to risk anything. And so it is a kind of a backhanded way of supporting what we're doing in it, while admitting that we are actually doing everything that Donald Trump said we were going to do. And for all of you who started to doubt this, and I don't think there's anybody who's listening to me right now, but for all of the people like Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and Joe Kent, all of you who threw up your hands and ran like little girls. Now, I don't want to insult little girls. Little girls are awesome. Like little wuss buckets, like little soy boys, and said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, Donald Trump got us into a war. It's going to be a long war. Oh, it's going to be all this. No, you see what? The thing is, Donald Trump, when he says something, he does it. Now, is there any time that he has said he's going to do something, he hasn't done it? Come on. What has he not done? He said he's going to lower drug prices. Created Trump RX, dropped prices of drugs dramatically for everything. Right now, in vitro fertilization is dirt cheap compared to where it used to be. Also, all of your GLPs and all that crap that you're taking, all sorts of drugs are all sorts of cheap. Donald Trump, he said, is going to do it. Didn't he say he was going to shut the southern border? Didn't he say he was going to bring back manufacturing to the United? I mean, honestly, how could you possibly? You're not MAGA if you don't think that Donald Trump said that this was going to end in 4 to 6 weeks and meant it. And Joe Kent, honestly, your career is over, bruh. Your career is over, bruh. Yeah, I called you bruh, because I'm so dope. But anyway, and Megyn Kelly, honestly, you're irrelevant. Tucker Carlson, dear God, man. I don't know what you're go live on an island with Candace Owens. Call it Crazy Town. I don't even know. I don't even know what you call it. But honestly, once you throw up your hands like this, then you're just going to be left in the dust. You're going to be left in the dustbin of history. Your careers are going to be over, and you're going to be proven to be wrong. The reason why Donald Trump has 100% support from MAGA is because we've been through hell. We have been through hell the last 10 years, called MAGA fascists, enemies of democracy. We have been censored. We have been surveilled. We have had our families destroyed because of our politics. We've had our marriages destroyed because of our politics. We watched as our candidate, they sick every arm of the deep state after him, including that Robert Mueller. And I'm glad that Donald Trump is saying, you know what, I'm not going to eulogize Robert Mueller in a good way, because, a lot of us, we spend our entire lives, we try to evolve as people to become better people by the time we die. So we have redemption when we pass. Then there are some people who just get worse. And I don't care what about his medals of whatever in combat. It was great. It was wonderful. Thank you for your service. But you tried to put a man in jail for nothing. You tried to derail political movement for nothing. You spent $40 million on an investigation of something that it was disproven in December of 2015, presented to Barack Obama, and Barack Obama said, I don't care, make something up. So you wasted $40 million chasing nothing. What did you bill for? What did your lawyers bill for? There was no evidence of Russia collusion. It had already been proven in December of 2015. But Barack Obama said, run with it. And you ran with it. So honestly, to hell with you. On the day of your death, do you expect Donald Trump to somehow say, you're a great and honorable man? No. Ridiculous. Sorry, I get a little worked up here. Back to the original point. Donald Trump said that we were going to do this in 4 to 6 weeks? Why did he say we were going to get Iran and we're going to take them down in 4 to 6 weeks? Because he went to his commanders and he said, you know how I feel about boots on the ground. We are not going to put boots on the ground. Can we do this? Yes, sir. How long will it take? 4 to 6 weeks, sir. All right, let's do it. And he took 2 months, 3 months, giving Iran every ultimatum, every opportunity to do what we asked them to do, to get out of the nuke business, to get out of the missile business, to get out of the terror business, and every single time they stuck up their middle finger at us. And Donald Trump said, okay. And it took 2 months to get the ships and everything over there, and they gathered off the coast just like they did in Venezuela, and then they pulled the trigger. And then they started kicking butt. And on day one, Democrats started saying it was a disaster. They're going to be left in the dustbin of history, too. Here is Victor Davis Hanson with the state of what we're doing in Iran and the world.
There's enough evidence to see how things are really going. Europeans would never agree to go anywhere near Iran unless they thought the tide was turning and they think that we're going to win. Otherwise, they would keep still. And the reason that the petro nations of the Gulf survive is they have their finger in the wind and they're very attuned to the climate. And when you have Al Jazeera praising the United States bombing campaign and saying that it's been underestimated and it's brilliant and effective, you get the feeling that they think not only should the United States finish the job, but it can and will finish the job. And then when you start to see tactical aircraft,
imagine that,
like Warthogs and Apaches, that means that they're offering almost ground and sea support to hit targets. There's nothing.
I believe we're into week 4 of this, by the way.
There's no defense at all when you have that type of aircraft flying at will in Iranian airspace. So you put it all together, and I think
it means that we're kicking their butts.
It's pretty clear that this rope-a-dope strategy that they have, that we're going to tire before they are, is dependent on just public opinion, the midterms in the United States. And if Trump sees it through, and I think he will, I think they're going to fall pretty soon. And
that is Victor Davis Hanson. And this is Jim Gossett as the president of the Rob Carson Show.
The Strait of Ren closed it. Now ships can't get through it. Power plants, I will bomb them. Just watch, I will do it.
Because he said he was going to.
48 hours. Iran has to choose.
Giving them 5 days now.
They better reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
And they're going to, and they are.
Oil tankers they're blocking.
They blinked.
Won't be tolerated. It's caused gas prices to be elevated. This is your last chance. Got so much to lose. If you don't reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
There you go. Come on, Jim. There you go. So now the Iranians are bending, by the way. Did you see some of the footage over the weekend with women in Iran taking off their hijabs and walking around on the streets? I am praying that this regime is done, is toast, and I'm also relying on Israel to help usher in a new regime. We're not into the regime change thing, by the way, but Israel's helping with that. By the way, people on the ground are pointing out IRCG members and reporting it to Israel intelligence, and they're picking them off with drones one by one. So the IRCG and all of the remnants of the Ayatollah's regime are now being reported on by the people to the Israeli intelligence who are on the ground, and they're being taken out like that. That is good news. Now, we've got a lot of good stuff to get to. Brad Cooper has an update on what's going on over there. Mark Rudy with NATO, he says, Donald Trump was right to attack Iran when he did. There's no doubt about it anymore. You can complain all you want. Ted Cruz, he helped to convince Donald Trump to attack Iran. We'll share all of that and more on the Rob Carson Show Monday edition. Don't go anywhere. This fall, you're invited to experience Washington, D.C. in a truly unforgettable way with me, Rob Carson, and other Newsmax listeners. Imagine strolling through our nation's capital as America celebrates 250 years and seeing history come alive with an expert guide. Together, we'll tour the White House Visitor Center, step into the halls of democracy with a guided tour of the U.S. Capitol building, visit Arlington National Cemetery and the changing of the guard, stand in awe before the towering figure of President Abraham Lincoln, and take in the beauty of D.C.'s legendary memorials with a special nighttime illumination tour. Our adventure includes premium hotel accommodations for 4 nights in the heart of D.C., in addition to 6 meals, ground transportation, guides, and gratuities. Space is limited, so don't wait. Visit travelwithrob.net to book your D.C. getaway today, or give our friends at Cruise and Tour a call at 800-383-3131. That's 800-383-3131, or travelwithrob.net.
Deported. 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 Get them out. Ready? Are you ready? Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Get the hell out of here. Deported. 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 Get them out. Ready? Are you ready? Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Get the hell out of here.
It is a Monday edition of the Rob Carson Show. I could think of no better way to introduce our next guest, John Mills, Dr. John Mills, who's written a book called Woke, A Critique of Social Justice Ideology, hardcover. Then this California professor who was featured this weekend in a number of media outlets, and her name is Jamie O'Quinn. Could be James, might have been born James, who the hell knows. An assistant sociology professor at Cal State San Bernardino, who made an unusual declaration during the meeting of the California State University Board of Trustees. Just listen.
Sex is a classification system used to reproduce social inequalities based on perceived biological.
Oh my God, that's right from the syllabus.
Characteristics. Male and female are binaries on a spectrum in which about 1 in every 50.
No, light and X-rays are on a spectrum.
1,500 babies born in.
You're on some kind of spectrum, and it's something to do with sanity.
The United States does not fall on. And the idea that I have to get up here and say that trans women are women, and that's what I have to use my time to do, is absurd. Shame on.
No, what you're saying is absurd.
Shame on all of you. And shame on you for using lesbian politics as a front for your transphobia, because this lesbian has had plenty of girlfriends with penises.
It's kind of a circuitous way to be attracted to men, to say that the men in your life are actually lesbians with penises. I don't know. Anyway, Dr. John Mills, welcome to the Rob Carson Show. How are you today, sir?
Oh, thank you for having me on.
What'd you think of that? I mean, this is how upside down that the absurd are calling us absurd. The world is upside down. And I'm glad to see, I'm hoping that this sort of nonsense is beginning to be more nonsensical to most people. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, well, we certainly do talk about transgenderism in the book. It certainly has taken on a certain type of lunacy that you just played that tape. The thing is that this is a complex issue, and there are people out there who generally are suffering. They have to work out these conflicts the best they can, and a very small minority of people decide that they would like to, transition and live in another gendered body. But the notion of biological sex is different than the notion of gender. And so this is where things become complex.
Yeah.
But when you try to say that there's no such thing as biological sex and it's merely a social construction, this is, I think, the heart of what drives people crazy.
Yeah.
And it creates unnecessary antagonism and animosity for the other by insisting that that's the case.
Isn't that the point of it, though? Isn't that really the point of it? I mean, you've written this book. You're talking about wokeism. You're talking about identity politics. You're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, all these movements, whiteness theory, gender-critical feminism, transgenderism, cancel culture. Isn't this all meant to divide us? Isn't that what it's really all about?
Yeah, certainly, unfortunately, that we are living in a divided society at this stage based upon these culture wars. And whether or not the movement is intended, meaning the woke movement or critical social justice theory, is intended to divide people, perhaps can be debated. But there's a clear intent to want to decenter, deconstruct, destabilize once established customs and norms that govern society, or at least did.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this is based upon very simple binary thinking.
Yeah.
That one group, is oppressing another group, and the other group is the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And until we start to, analyze and critique this very simplistic ideology, we're not going to get anywhere.
Well, where did this come from? Okay, because listen, my son was I think 12 or 13 years old. This is about about 12, 13 years ago. I was living in Washington, D.C., and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the concept of white privilege popped up. And this was very troubling for me because he went to an elementary school and a middle school and a high school that were 10% white. And his friends were all, they didn't care about race or whatever. I'm from Gen X. We were the first generation that didn't care really about it. We knew we were a melting pot. We didn't care about interracial dating. Uhura had kissed Kirk when we were infants, and we didn't even think about it. We watched The Jeffersons. We watched Roots. We watched Good Times. We watched All in the Family. We watched America, Schoolhouse Rock, and all of this. And all of this came around, and I began to see hints of it when I was in college, but it really hit about 10, 12 years ago, this wokeism, this social justice nonsense. So why did this happen? Why did this happen when it did, when so much healing had happened? And why did, like, for instance, in the year 2000, it become 1968 all over again with George Floyd?
Yes, well, that I think is one of the decisive factors that's sparked a revival of this type of protest movement. But I would imagine that this type of thinking started to happen about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And, particularly within the progressive political left.
Yeah.
And how it infiltrated the humanities and social sciences in universities and colleges.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then you have a very, deliberate yet calculated way of introducing ideas and concepts in the humanities, and then when it gets into popular culture, and it gets into private industry, and then you had the George Floyd murder.
Yes.
The pandemic also is what everybody just comes out of the woodwork with all their frustrations and resentment and feelings of helplessness. And I think that's when the momentum really took off.
Well, I think that we've seen the peak of this when we were in the middle of the denouement. I think that it's on the way out. I think that we had an overcorrection. I believe that the left and those affiliated with it overplayed their hands, as they usually do. But the book is called Woke, A Critique of Social Justice Ideology, and it's available now on Amazon, among other places. Dr. John Mills, thanks for being on the show today, man. I appreciate you.
No, thank you for having me on.
All right, have a good day. Let's go ahead and take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. It is a Rob Carson show, Monday. Had a very busy weekend. I slept 12 hours last night. I don't know. Maybe it was, you ever do that every once in a while? You wake up and you go, wow, I'm just not, I need some more sleep. And I laid back down yesterday. Then I came and I did the Easter special of my show, Rob Carson's What in the World. And I went home and I got a lot of stuff done. But finally last night, like 7:30, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed, and I woke up at 7 this morning, so I had 12 hours of sleep. Anyway. So are you planning on a vacation this summer or this fall? We're doing something really cool. I can finally speak to you about this. It's been months in the working. October 25th through the 29th of this year, I'm inviting you to come and spend 5 days and 4 nights in Washington, D.C. Now, I was asked if I'd like to do a listener trip, and I said yes. And they said, well, what do you say, Ireland? I said, Ireland is great, but I don't know. Iceland, no, I don't. Greek islands, I don't know. Well, we got the option of Washington, D.C., but you don't want to do Washington, D.C. because you live in Washington, D.C. I said, yeah, I want to do Washington, D.C. Just because I live in Washington, D.C. doesn't mean you don't want to come here. And I want to show you around. We are in an unbelievable time. This is the best year ever. And I moved here to bring you here. And now you can join me. Listen to this. This fall, October 25th through the 29th, this is 2 days after my birthday. You don't need to bring a present. It's not a big deal. Celebrate Washington, D.C. truly unforgettable way. All right? 250th anniversary of the country. Seeing history come alive with expert guides. We'll tour the White House Visitor Center, step into the halls of democracy with a guided tour of the U.S. Capitol building, visit Arlington National Cemetery, changing the guard. Oh my gosh, I want to show you around because I know this place. Oh my gosh. Stand in awe before a towering figure of Abraham Lincoln in the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Monument. Take in the beauty of D.C.'s legendary memorials with a special nighttime illumination tour. Our adventure begins with premium hotel accommodations for 4 nights in the heart of D.C., in addition to 6 meals, ground transportation, guides, and gratuities. I'm taking time off to be with you. I'm going to broadcast at least one day with you. We're going to find a space. I'm going to have you in the room with me, and we're going to do the show. But I'm taking some time off to show you around because we deserve this. Now, you want to know, how do I book this trip? Here you go. Ready? Write this down. Travelwithrob.net. Travelwithrob.net. Book your DC getaway today. Our friends at a Cruise and Tour, or you can call, by the way, 800-383-3131. 800-383-3131. Travelwithrob.net. Check it out, okay? I have a feeling, considering all the other things I've done with listeners, like our big trip June 11th to Gettysburg, sold out like that. If you've been dreaming your entire life of coming to Washington, D.C., I know it's a big deal. I've lived here before, but I never get tired of it. I never stop getting goosebumps seeing the Washington Monument or standing in front of the World War II Memorial or seeing someone rub the name of someone they love off of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial or seeing the Korean War Memorial or going to the Smithsonian's. It is remarkable. It's our city. It's our capital. And Donald Trump has made it a great place. We might even go to Georgetown. Hell, come over to Old Town. I don't even know what we're going to do. We're going to have a great time. But I want to live it with you. So again, travelwithrob.net. Travelwithrob.net or 800-383-3131. Write those down right now. You can see it on you streamers. It's right there. It's right there on the page. Travelwithrob.net. Get on it. Because it's coming up October 25th through the 29th. Start making plans. Bring your SIG, whatever. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait. This is my dream come true. There is nothing I love more than meeting the people who love this show. There's nothing I love more. I'd love to rub elbows with you guys. We are a community together. We have been through so much together. I am here for you, and now you can come here and be with me. This is going to be a blast. Travelwithrob.net. That's what it is. Here is General Brad Cooper talking about Operation Epic Fury over the weekend.
Hi, I'm Admiral Brad Cooper, Commander of U.S. Central Command, here for my 4th update on
I call him a general. He's an admiral.
Operation Epic Fury. On day 22 of combat operations, U.S. forces continue to take bold action and remain on plan to eliminate Iran's ability to project meaningful power outside its borders.
Isn't that amazing? Donald Trump said 4 to 6 weeks. We're 4 weeks in.
Just 2 days ago, the U.S. Army launched the longest field artillery strike in Army combat history using precision strike missiles. The strike took out Iranian military infrastructure, demonstrating the U.S. military's unmatched reach.
And by the way, Iran blinked today. Donald Trump said, you leave the Straits of Hormuz open or we're going to bomb the snot out of your power infrastructure. And he has put that off for 5 days because Iran is blinking. This is big. This is Mark Rutte of NATO admitting it was the right thing for Donald Trump and Israel, our militaries, to go after Iran when we did.
But Israel says these were intercontinental ballistic missiles that could hit Berlin, Paris, and Rome. Does NATO share that Israeli assessment?
We cannot confirm that at the moment, so we're looking into that. But if this would be true, it is the more evidence that what the president is doing here, taking out the ballistic missile capability, taking out the nuclear capability from Iran, is crucial. And exactly as the ambassador just said, Ambassador Waltz, we have seen with North Korea, if we negotiate for too long, you might pass the moment where you can still get this thing done.
Yeah, we struck at the right time when we needed to stop them.
North Korea now has the nuclear capability. If Iran would have the nuclear capability, including together with the missile capability, it would be a direct threat, an existential threat.
There you go. There's Mark Rutte saying Iran was an existential threat, and there was no doubt about it. Stick it, Joe Kent and Tucker Carlson. Here's Mike Waltz. He is the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, talking about where Iran was and how they were lying about their missile capabilities.
I can tell you that UK just condemned the firing of an intermediate range ballistic missile at Diego Garcia. That same type of missile Iran has lied about in terms of its development and said they were not developing, yet they just lied. Yet they just did it. Not only could it hit Diego Garcia, it could hit capitals in Europe. And Margaret, the technology, the booster technology that Iran has been hiding behind its space program, I don't think we're going to see Iranian astronauts on the moon anytime soon.
The Iranian astronauts on the moon. No, they were developing long-range missiles, and they were getting ready to put a nuke on the one of them because they had enough nuclear material for at least 10 or 11 missiles, and we did the right thing. There you go. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. All right, kids. All right. Are you guys going to come and see me? It's going to be amazing. October the 25th through the 29th. I can't wait. It's going to be remarkable. I've lived here. I lived here 12 years now. I've lived there another, 7 months. And I just never get tired of it. This weekend I went and drove around. I went to Georgetown. I went to the cathedral, the beautiful cathedral, National Cathedral. And I can't get enough of it. And this is your capital. This is not just another city. This is our capital. And I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's I drive across the bridge. I drive across whatever bridge, go over by the Kennedy Center, and I still look and go, oh, my God, that's Kennedy Center. Oh, my God, look at that. There's the Washington Monument. There's the Capitol. Well, you're going to have such a good time. I know that money can be tight sometimes. I know they're making it affordable, but if you would, I'd love to have you come in. Travelwithrob.net, travelwithrob.net. I cannot wait. There's nothing I want more than to hang out with you guys. It's just going to be a thrill. Willard Clark, how you doing there, Willard, and all you guys? Appreciate you joining me on the YouTubeage. Let's see who's watching on the Rumbly Ruse. Pat Carr and Lemonade, hello. Good to see you. Lisa Johnson, what's happening? Valentina, Truth Be Trolled 2. I hope you guys had a nice weekend. I wish I could go. DC is awesome. I'm sure it'll be a blast. That's from Donna Lambert. Well, see what you can do, Donna. See what you can do. We'd love to have ya. We'd love to have you come and visit if you can. I know that, it's a lot of times we wait our entire lives for a trip like this. And, maybe it's the time. It's historical. It's the 250th year, and Donald Trump's a prezi. So here we go. I'll be back. 3.5. October 25th through the 29th. This year, 250th anniversary. come and spend it with me. 5 days, 4 nights, 6 meals, transportation. We're going to take it all in. Travelwithrob.net. Travelwithrob.net, or you can call 800-383-3131, 800-383-3131. It's going to be an amazing time. I can't wait. I just can't wait. Prince Pahlavi, he's the Crown Prince of Iran, talking about going to Iran right now. It's pretty ballsy of him to do this because, you know, the IRCG is still around and whatnot. But he says he's ready to go in, and I'm hoping that this happens very soon, that the Ayatollah and all of his henchmen will be gone, and Iran, we will witness history as Iran is free.
If you were to give me the opportunity to say to the Iranian people and the world, when is it that I go back there? It will be the first minute I get the opportunity to do that, and that has to be, of course, orchestrated properly. I'm ready to go there as soon as possible. I would like to be there, whether it is before the regime collapses or right after the regime collapses. It is important for me to be among my compatriots to fight the final battle and bring it to fruition.
I mentioned that I saw some of these boots out of Iraq, where Iran protests, all these little idiots, and I confronted them down here in Northern Virginia one evening on a place called King Street in Old Town Alexandria. They're standing there screaming with their bullhorns and all this crap, and they'll keep the U.S. out of Iran, you know, and they're literally promoting the Ayatollah and keeping women in bondage and the whole deal. And I confronted them. I said, "You're children. You guys are children. You're bought and paid for." Guess what? They were not there this weekend. They were not anywhere to be found. And I ordered a megaphone, and I had YMCA ready in the 5,000-watt sound system I have in my Bronco Buck. I had it ready to go. I was going to park right in front of them, and I was going to do it. But they were gone. They were gone. Because we are winning right now. There's nothing they can do about it. And NBC went out and decided to do a man on the street kind of thing and see if there were a lot of Trump hate out there. A lot of people thinking we shouldn't be in Iran, and how gas prices were going to change everything, and you would turn against Donald Trump and the United States.
Decision to strike Iran.
It was a great decision. I think somebody else should have done it a couple of years ago. Last 3 other presidents.
Are you willing to pay higher prices at the pump if that's the cost?
Yeah, I'm willing to pay a little more.
What do you think about the war?
I think he's doing the right thing.
What?
You know, in the long run, it's going to help us out because, if they get nuclear weapons, we might not even be here in a couple of years. So I think he's doing a good job.
Wow.
Is it worth the rise in the price of gas?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think about the U.S. decision to go into Iran?
I think we got to do what we got to do to keep this country safe. So, and if it means paying a little bit more in gas right now to keep everybody safe, then that's what we got to do.
Yeah, that's America right there, by the way. It's not these idiots out there, standing over bridge abutments or carrying signs printed in New York City. America's proud of our military, and they love the fact that our military is kicking some serious butt, and Iran could be free, and Cuba and Venezuela and all of that. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show. Don't go anywhere.
No blind rhetoric.
No talking down to me.
Don't tell me how to think.
Don't tell me how to think. Don't tell me how to think.
I trust Newsmax. Newsmax.
They don't tell me how to think. They let me decide.
Real news for real people.
America, on air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show. We have much to get to the next couple of hours of the radio program. Blaine Holt, General, is going to join us at the bottom of the hour to talk about the latest with regard to Operation Epic Fury. Iran has blinked. Donald Trump said, open the Strait of Hormuz or we're going to destroy your energy infrastructure. And apparently they went, habada, 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 habada. And they backed down and all that. So that's what happened there. And then we want to get into the ICE is going to America's airports because Democrats are keeping the TSA unfunded and people are suffering because of it. It's just so friggin' disgusting. They've done this twice. They did it last fall. They don't care who suffers. The Democrat Party doesn't care who suffers. They just want illegals to be able to vote. There's no doubt about it whatsoever, by the way. No doubt about it whatsoever. I want to mention, we're doing this trip to D.C. October 25th through the 29th. I want to remind you again for the 250th anniversary of the country. And it's a trip. You come here to Washington, D.C. and spend 5 days and 4 nights with me. And you need to go to travelwithrob.net. Airfare and accommodations. And then 6 glorious meals are provided with the trip. I was just looking at the site. I look pretty darn handsome. I'll tell you right now. There you go. So just go to cruise, to travelwithrob.net, travelwithrob.net, and get all the information there. I can't wait. I just can't wait. Look at all the pictures. Look at where we're staying. Oh, my God, it's going to be so... Dang. Oh, my gosh, this is going to be fun. So you got the rates, you got how to book and all that stuff, but you might want to do it soon. Make a plan for this fall to come to Washington, D.C. I insisted that we do a trip to Washington, D.C. If we're going to do a trip with listeners or people who watch the show, it had to be here because I'm here for you. That's why I'm doing it, kids. That's why I'm doing it. Greg Gutfeld had a pretty good encapsulation. Gutfeld is, a sage. It's kind of interesting. Comedians are philosophers. And there's a math to comedy. It takes a smart person to be able to do comedy. I don't know how to explain it. You look at all of the people throughout history who've left an indelible mark and have left wisdoms with us that we don't forget. You can't name many philosophers and quotes from various philosophers, but you can quote George Carlin. And not only because it was funny, but also there's an insightfulness to it. And Gutfeld had a brilliant monologue this weekend. It goes along the same lines that everything, and I've said, all the Democrats are doing right now is they just exist to be contrarian to Donald Trump, no matter what good he does. No matter what good he does. And now it's disparaging our troops on day one after we've evaporated the Ayatollah. None of them have celebrated the Ayatollah's demise. None of them have celebrated the possibility of Iranians breathing free for the first time in 47 years. It's a shameful group of people, these Democrats. They are awful, awful people. They bedded down with the most insane ideology in the history of the world, including transgenderizing children. I mean, honestly, wow. But here's Gutfeld, kind of an encapsulation.
About revenge. For what?
Start that again.
The Dems are talking about revenge. For what?
Yeah, the Democrats want to impeach Donald Trump and remove him for office if they win the midterms, and that's not going to happen.
Was it for closing the border? We're getting rid of the fentanyl from our cities? Putting away killers and rapists, exposing waste, fraud, and abuse, destroying a foreign threat to our country, exposing the lie of trans athletes. If you're seeking revenge for that, what's it say about you?
Yeah.
If you're being honest, you only want revenge because you lost.
Yes.
And in that loss, people saw what they gained in having a new leader. If you look within our borders and beyond our borders, what Trump is doing now, and you have to admit this, is downstream from your own dereliction of your party. What brought us here? The Democrats embraced the luxury beliefs that selfishly elevated their own virtue, sanctuary cities, trans, identity politics primarily. Did nothing for the real problems of the world, did nothing about our foreign policy issues, did nothing about getting food on the table, did nothing about education. Americans figured that out, but so did the world. They were watching. I think the shock over Trump is his return to reality. We're back making moves in the practical world, and it has nothing to do with a singular person type identity. This is disorienting to people whose careers were based on the split world of identity politics, who have no idea what a national identity is, who have no idea what the melting pot is, have no idea what assimilation is. That's all he is doing, and it drives them crazy because they forgot that language.
100%. 100%. I grew up a great American melting pot, and the left comes along and says, all of these things about America. It's awful. It's a slave. Lots of that. And that's, by the way, Donald Trump, they brought back a statue of Columbus that was thrown into the bay in Baltimore. I'll get the information. Yeah, White House installed the Christopher Columbus statue made from the remains of a toppled sculpture. The new statue of Christopher Columbus went up on the White House grounds Sunday, was built using pieces from a monument to the Italian explorer that protesters destroyed 6 years ago in 2020. The 13-foot, 1-ton replica of the Columbus statue toppled in Baltimore in 2020, then dumped into the city's inner harbor, was commissioned by the Conference of Presidents of major Italian American organizations, part of the White House celebration of America's 250th anniversary. Columbus Day itself emerged in the aftermath of the 1891 New Orleans lynching when 11 Italian immigrants were killed by a mob of thousands, an event that prompted a national effort to promote the acceptance and assimilation of Italian Americans. I thought they were white privileged. Yeah. That history remains central to why these monuments matter. Baltimore's Columbus statue torn down in 2020 by Black Lives Matter idiots who argue that Italian explorer was responsible for the genocide and exploitation of Native people, blah, 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 and all that crap. So anyway, we're saying about all this nonsense. This is Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She has just made Arkansas into a showcase, particularly with their education system, just turned the state around. And she is echoing what I have been saying. I said it about 2024. I said it's the year that we have to turn back to common sense from nonsense. And she is echoing words that Jim Jordan said last week, that this midterm is about normal versus the abnormal. Of course, the Democrats being abnormal.
Now our country is in a battle between what is normal versus what is crazy. And unfortunately, there are a few crazies out there, and they have very loud voices. And they asked me to leave a restaurant recently, but I think that it gives us an opportunity to hold our heads high and show the normal. And I think that is the vast majority of Americans. There's still so much good out there, certainly in my state.
Here's what I said. What did I tell you? I told you 80% of us believed the country was heading in the wrong direction. 80% of us can come together to save her. And I believe 80% of us are patriotic. Maybe some were afraid to say something for a while because there were idiots kneeling during the national anthem, but there is a rebirth happening, and it is serendipitous. What's happening in our country right now is serendipity. After years of abuses and usurpations only the founders could have dreamed of, America is back, and Donald Trump, despite the evil of the deep state had become so evil that they tried to put him in jail, they tried to take his fortune, they tried to take him off the ballot, they tried to kill him. And he arrived just in time for the 250th anniversary of our country. And I don't think that's by accident. I believe that this country, to survive another 250 years, needed a baptism by fire. Donald Trump, when Robert Mueller died over the weekend, did not pay tribute. He said, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. Robert Mueller was a corrupt, deep state bureaucrat who had all of the evidence that Russia collusion was a hoax going into his investigation, and $40 million later, I don't know what they were billing for, because Russia collusion had been disproven by December, presented to Barack Obama, December 2015, as a hoax. Obama said, forget that, let's go ahead and create it. Let's make it seem like there was a hoax. And Robert Mueller carried his water, and they attempted to destroy Donald Trump's presidency based on an absolute lie. And it was all an absolute lie. Here's a little montage of the media at the time.
Russia hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively hacked the election.
Russia did hack the election.
No doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Yes. Russia hacked.
It was all a freaking lie. And when it was happening, I said that Russia had no compelling interest in Donald Trump as a president. It made no sense. He's a hawk on defense, a hawk on the budget, hawk on energy, and Hillary Clinton had already been bought and paid for. She presided over the Uranium One deal and got $150 million into her charity from Russian oligarchs who had shares in Uranium One. That is the truth.
The election.
Fact, Russia hacked the election.
President-elect Donald Trump still not sounding convinced that Russia hacked the election.
The president does not want to come to terms with the fact that the Russians hacked the election.
It was a lie. It was a massive, massive lie. Here is Scott Bessent, my favorite cabinet secretary, taking down Kristen Welker because Donald Trump didn't want to pay tribute to the man who wanted to destroy his life and put him in jail.
The death of an American citizen, someone who's a Bronze Star, Purple Heart recipient and who served in Vietnam.
Kristen, I was with the president in the green room at Davos, and there was a video playing of the what may have been an illegal raid on his home at Mar-a-Lago. They are going through his wife's wardrobe, and I watched the look in his eye, and I think that neither one of us can understand what has been done to the president and to his family.
But to the question of the...
Now, Kristen, I want you to face this. I want you to face the ruination of your family for no good reason other than politics. Kristen, I want you to have armed agents arrive at your home, insist that everybody is removed, and turn off the video surveillance equipment so they can plant evidence to say something that is untrue about you so you will go to prison. Kristen.
President's post. I mean, Robert Mueller didn't order that raid. Is it appropriate for the president to celebrate?
He knew that Russia collusion was a lie.
The death of any American citizen,
again,
Mr. Secretary.
I think that given what has been done to President Trump and his family, it is impossible for either of us to understand what he has been through.
So you don't think that there's anything wrong with the post saying?
Of course not. Do you not understand English?
Again, I think that we should all have a little empathy for what has been done to him and his family.
And you guys covered it all up there, Kristen. And too bad, so sad. No apology. I'm glad he's being unapologetic about it. It's enough with eulogizing in positive form people who are absolutely, absolutely filthy, rotten, corrupt, and would bastardize the American legal system to go after people for politics. Honestly, too bad, so sad. Let's take a break and come back. This is the Rob Carson Show.
Mom Donnie, a socialist. Mom Donnie, a communist. He's a fan of a muss. His win will be New York's loss. He's an extremist, you bet, as New York's gonna get taxed like never before. When Mom Donnie is done, the city will run every grocery store. He'll defund the police and crime will increase as the murder rate begins to soar. Mom Donnie, anti-Jew, he despises Netanyahu. It is really a sin. New Yorkers voted him in. They'll regret that they helped him win.
With the actions he's taken, Jacob Bright is making Minneapolis a clown town. Ice fries are bows and wild Tim Wolves is dozing. City has become a clown town. Ilhan Omar's hiding fraud. Keith Ellison's obstructing a war on law enforcement. Jacob Price conducting. Tampon Tim is so incompetent. Most Minnesotans want no more of him. It's a clown town, Minneapolis, clown town. It's far from fabulous, clown town. Once great cities become clown town, clown town.
lefty who's ruined his state. Now he wants our children to self-mutilate. His policies are disgusting and lewd. And now he says schools have to include tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz and Kamala, a couple of fools. And everybody knows that liberals want to ruin schools. Tim allowed his cities to be burned by BLM. Criminals, illegals, they can count on Tim. His uniform, Tim, was disgraced. He really crossed the line the moment that he placed tampons in the boys' room. Tampons in the boys' room. Tim Walz is a commie. Kamala is too. And everyone should know the damage that these two could do.
Relentlessly slowing the spread of the stupid every day. It's the Rob Carson Show.
Very simple. You did a lot of work, correct?
Yes, that I agree.
A lot of subpoenas, a lot of pen registers.
A lot of subpoenas. Yes.
Okay, we'll walk this really slow if we need to.
A lot of search warrants.
All right, a lot of search warrants, a lot of things. So you're very thorough.
What?
In your opinion, very thorough.
This is Robert Mueller being questioned in 2019.
You listed this out in your report, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Is it true, the evidence gathered during your investigation, given the questions that you've just answered, is it true the evidence gathered during your investigation did not establish that the president was involved in the underlying crime related to Russian election interference as stated in Volume 1, page 7?
We found insufficient evidence.
Meaning there was no evidence he didn't collude with Russia, and you knew it at the beginning of the damned investigation. You knew it. Everybody knew it in December of 2015, but you went ahead and played along, and you billed all of your whatever lawyers you had working for you, billed for nothing. You sat there and $500 an hour to, I don't know, play whatever sort of video game. Honestly, ridiculous. There was never a case, but this man played along, and our tax money went for nothing.
Of the president's culpability.
So that would be a yes.
Pardon?
That would be a yes.
Yes.
We'll just say he wasn't involved with Russia, you moron.
Thank you. Isn't it true the evidence did not establish that the president or those close to him were involved in the charged Russian computer hacking or active measure conspiracies, or that the president otherwise had unlawful relationships with any Russian official? Volume 2, page 76, correct?
I leave the answer to our report.
So it's a yes.
Yeah, it's a yes. Just answered the dang question. This is, there were some people who knew this was a witch hunt back when that was happening. Me and Jim Gossett, we knew it. It was obvious. Here's a piece of comedy from then.
Collusion, not one shred.
Not a bit.
Bob Mueller's case is dead. It's finally put to bed, that witch hunt.
Nice.
Obstruction, not a single bit.
Never was.
The left is gonna have a fit. Bob Mueller, he's so full of it too. Was a witch hunt. A Mueller witch hunt.
That's all it was.
Their collusion scheme was strictly taboo.
Smokescreen.
2 years they didn't find a crime. Mueller, he wasted all our time. Hope someone drops a dime on him soon. $30 million he spent.
Yeah.
And down the tubes it went.
For nothing.
Bob Mueller, prison's meant for you.
We don't have to worry about them now. Yeah.
You're through.
Jim Gossett. We knew this when it was happening. We knew it happened in real time. We knew it was a bunch of crap. That song is like 7 years old. Did you know that? Oh my gosh. Can You believe that? Yeah, you better believe it, because all it takes is a little bit of common sense. And so, Bob Mueller, bye. Hasta la vista. Enjoy the afterlife wherever you spend it. Can't imagine it's going to be a great place. Sorry, that's just the way I feel. Here is a report out of Atlanta, where ICE agents are helping out TSA employees who are not being paid because of Democrats.
ICE agents have arrived within the hour, and they are assisting with line management and crowd control. And if you just take a look around me, you can see there's a sea of lines. From the moment you walk into the front door, you can see several long lines, all leading back to TSA checkpoints. Now, over the weekend, the wait times here at the airport was up to 6 hours for some travelers. That's because a record number of TSA workers called out. On Saturday alone, more than 3,000 did not show up. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens says the federal agents are here not to conduct...
Once again, the Democrat Party made to look like complete morons, because they are. But this is Hakeem Jeffries yesterday. He said that ICE agents in airports, are you ready? People are going to get killed. Now, the only problem is there, Hakeem, is that people can't run over ICE agents in the airport, and they probably don't want to conceal carry and kick out an ICE vehicle's headlight and then attack some ICE officers with a gun. So I'm not thinking that's going to happen there, Hakeem.
What's your response to what Tom Homan revealed here?
Well, good morning. Great to be with you. There are three things that have been true since Donald Trump and Republicans came back into power last January.
What's that, Hakeem?
Life is more expensive.
No, it's not.
Life is more chaotic.
No, it's not.
And life is more extreme.
No, it's not.
The last thing that the American people need are for untrained ICE agents to be deployed at airports all across the country, potentially to brutalize or in some instances kill them. We've already seen how ICE conducts itself.
See, this is it. They're movie vampires, spinning out of control into hell, trying to drag us with them. That is one of the most insane things you could possibly say. Here is Debbie Dingle, who, if she married Marion Barry, would be Debbie Dingleberry, saying that ICE is going to kill people in airports.
Dingle?
Well, I agree with you that Congress is broken, but here's the fact of the matter. I have a lot of questions about what he said.
Oh, yes.
Are they going to be wearing masks? What are the functions that they're going to be performing? Are they going to make it more complicated? Are people going to be more scared? Are they going to threaten people?
God.
Are people going to start to see people not even willing to travel because they're intimidated by them? Here's the reality.
I'm too scared of the ICE agents. We're not going to Disney World, kids.
We could settle this tomorrow and fund TSA, FEMA, which, by the way, got gutted a year ago, in this funding of Homeland Security by DOJ, and fund the Coast Guard and deal with the ICE issue, which has to be dealt with front and center.
Unbelievable. I got to tell you, to say that ICE is going to terrify people and kill them in the airports, honestly, it is, you are at this point, you cannot be taken seriously anymore. That's why I say that conservative comedy is ascending, because the left can't be taken seriously anymore. I look at those comments and I'd like to be outraged, but really, they're just so bloody stupid that I can't take them seriously. I can't take Hakeem Jeffries and Debbie Dingleberry seriously, because they would say such things. And I don't think anyone with a modicum, a tiny sliver of common sense would say the same thing. And nobody is going to avoid going to the airport to fly because ICE agents are helping out with the TSA duties. My God, get a grip. Let's take a break and come back. Brigadier General Blaine Holt joins us next. Don't go anywhere.
Well, I'm gonna pay a visit. I'm headed to the Everglades. Gonna see a brand new prison for folks arrested in ICE raids. I hear it's already getting all kinds of accolades. Alligator Alcatraz, it's where illegals will be kept. We're cracking down, unlike Biden, who was totally inept. It is something that the liberals in Florida cannot accept. California Alcatraz, I want to open that one too. Just imagine the hard time that real criminals will do. Alligator Alcatraz, I'm gonna take a tour of you.
This fall, you're invited to experience Washington, D.C. in a truly unforgettable way with me, Rob Carson, and other Newsmax listeners. Imagine strolling through our nation's capital as America celebrates 250 years and seeing history come alive with an expert guide. Together, we'll tour the White House Visitor Center, step into the halls of democracy with a guided tour of the U.S. Capitol building, visit Arlington National Cemetery and the changing of the guard, stand in awe before the towering figure of President Abraham Lincoln, and take in the beauty of D.C.'s legendary memorials with a special nighttime illumination tour. Our adventure includes premium hotel accommodations for 4 nights in the heart of D.C., in addition to 6 meals, ground transportation, guides, and gratuities. Space is limited, so don't wait. Visit travelwithrob.net to book your D.C. getaway today, or give our friends at Cruise and Tour a call at 800-383-3131. That's 800-383-3131, or travelwithrob.net.
Free in libs' heads I'm living, the fits I am giving to Whoopi, Sunny, and Joy. Rent free, I'm occupying. Rosie is lying. She says I'm not in her head. Break free, they simply can't do it. When you get down to it, they have TDS real bad. Hey, Red, just watch it as it spreads, because inside their heads I live.
Hey guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 in the morning on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about Ghost Bed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. Ghost Bed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new Ghost Bed.
Well, look, we can have dialogue, but I don't want to do a ceasefire. You know, you don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. They don't have a Navy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have any equipment they don't have any spotters. They don't have anti-aircraft. They don't have radar. And their leaders have all been killed at every level. We're not looking to do that.
Okay, so that is Donald Trump yesterday talking about what's going on with Operation Epic Fury. The Iranian military has been decimated. They launched a long-range ballistic missile at Diego Garcia, which actually proved that Donald Trump was right for attacking Iran and destroying their missile and nuclear capabilities. When he did, the entire world is waking up to this. And here to talk about that, among other things, the host of Dangerous Intellectuals, a great podcast, Brigadier General retired Blaine Holt. Hello, how are you on this glorious Monday, my friend?
It is glorious, and we woke up to a very good morning as far as the Middle East is concerned.
Yeah.
So this is a great week, and let's keep it going.
Well, let me ask you this, because Donald Trump had told Iran, you got 48 hours to open the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to start destroying your power infrastructure. I believe we started to drop some bombs, and now Donald Trump is saying we're going to give you 5 days. What do you know? It's been hard for me to track this while I'm on the air, but what do you know, and what has developed over the weekend to now?
So this is where I would go is I would direct, first off, we have bombed them. We didn't take out the whole power structure because we got to protect the free Iranian people who want their country back.
Yeah.
But it's getting complicated very quickly, but in a good way. And the reason I say that is, everybody's been making a big bunch of hay that the mullahs are saying, we never talked to Trump. We never talked to Trump. Well, I'll say this as lightly as I can because it is informed. How do you know Trump was not talking to somebody else in that country who's a leader of Iran? So what I would say is be cautious. There's a lot of things to happen. The straits are not secured yet, but they will be.
Yeah.
And the mullahs are coming off the table. There is no way we can allow them to exist. Otherwise, we'll just be under revenge terror for the rest of our lives.
100%. I want to play a little a clip from Victor Davis Hanson, who's one of my all-time favorites, about why we know that we are kicking Iran's rear end up between its shoulders.
There's enough evidence to see how things are really going. Europeans would never agree to go anywhere near Iran unless they thought the tide was turning and they think that we're going to win. Otherwise, they would keep still. And the reason that the petronations of the Gulf survive is they have their finger in the wind and they're very attuned to the climate. And when you have Al Jazeera praising the United States bombing campaign and saying that it's been underestimated and it's brilliant and effective, you get the feeling that they think not only should the United States finish the job, but it can and will finish the job.
That's pretty amazing right there, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be historic. And we've got a clear shot at this thing called the Abraham Accords, and that's going to change everything. And we can pull all our soldiers and sailors and everybody home.
So there have been, the Democrat Party has just been so bloody awful through all of this, and I want them to be shamed when our troops come home after a glorious. I want to hell with them. Chris Murphy, the day that we vaporized the Ayatollah, it took us minutes to vaporize the Ayatollah, and then his cardboard son shows up, by the way, which is actually him. It really is him, by the way. And Chris Murphy, day one, said that it was a disaster. That SOB, that filthy, rotten son of a gun. And I think these Democrats should be shamed. And I think they've really stepped in it. They've really stepped in it to demean and attempt to demoralize our troops in their hour of absolute perfection. I mean, just a brilliant job. Do you suppose that this is going to be ending soon? And what are the Democrats how are they going to react?
In a few weeks, I would say yes. And the thing that we have to ask ourselves is when you have somebody who's an elected official that bets against the American people and is pulling for the terrorists that have killed countless American lives and soldiers, then you need to wonder, well, where are you getting your money from? Who's paying your bills? And how does your little business world work? Because more often than not, I'm going to tell you, you're dealing with a corrupt, seditious, traitorous individual who needs accountability. Not just we shouldn't just ignore these people. We should absolutely examine them and investigate them.
I've never seen anything like this. It was bad enough back when Dick Turban, as Rush Limbaugh used to call him, said that the Iranian mission or the Iraqi mission was over while our soldiers were on the ground. That was bad enough. This was an instantaneous, almost bought and paid for, like George Soros reaction to what was happening on day one. So clearly they had it locked and loaded. Clearly they had their dissent locked and loaded, General.
They always do. They always do. And now their newest thing is not only have they done the disgraceful step of denying our taxpayer dollars to pay for our security through the TSA shutdown, now they're begrudging, they've been trying to defund ICE forever, but they don't want ICE out there defending us and allowing commerce to go through in our in our airplane system. So it's their treason is in full visibility. And I'm going to call things what they are. If it's seditious and treasonous, I won't look for more politically correct words than that, and nor should anybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look what happened at our southern border. We stuffed a Trojan horse with our nation's enemies, military-aged men from around the world. That was absolutely seditious. And notice you're not seeing anything of Alejandro Mayorkas. I've said since day one he should be tried, convicted, and lined up against a wall. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. How dare they? How dare they do this to us? And then behave in such a fashion as we attempt to bring the country back together again is remarkable.
So did you see this morning how the markets reacted to the president's maneuvers? Think of how much smart money got burned betting long on oil, and we're shorting the stocks in the stock market because we saw those numbers building up over the weekend. I mean, we're talking billions and billions of elitist globalist money coming off the table this morning.
Wow.
And that's what I would direct everybody to is Iran is just part of a multi-theater game here. This is City of London financialist stuff, and they're vying for control, and it's slipping out of their hands. And this is what's wonderful to watch.
Well, and I was, there was a brief, every few days there's some sort of a different meme about Donald Trump, and it was this last week. It was he was not prepared for the Straits of Hormuz, and they're acting like he had no plan for it. The opposite was absolutely true. Some brilliant moves as far as getting oil through the Straits of Hormuz, and also getting international partners to release oil from their own reserves to keep the prices under control. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was brilliant. But we got to get job number one is not the oil, actually. Job number one is getting that sulfur and urea out of the straits because we have a brewing food crisis. You have NOAA that just predicted a drought this summer in the United States. Australia just lost its number one producer of fertilizer. We got a storm brewing, and it involves food, and it's going to be very real come the late summer.
All right, let's take a break and come back more with General Blaine Holt on the other side of the break. This is the Rob Carson Show. the Rob Carson Show. More with General Blaine Holt, the host of Dangerous Intellectuals, podcast dangerousintellectuals.com. Here's the headline. SoGen reduces gold exposure as market volatility rises but maintains $6,000 target. So the price of gold has dipped in the last couple of weeks. It's at $4,400. That is a major break for you, because it had an epic rise from $2,600 to $5,600 in January, and it has dropped since. Now, here's the deal. You're going to sit on gold for a while. Nobody jumps into gold to buy it to sell it the next day. Nobody does that. So right now at $4,400, that's majorly affordable for a lot of people. And maybe this is the opportunity for you to buy into gold with Birch Gold while it's down. Because listen, the last 2 years, hell, the last 10 to 20 years, gold's price raise has been astronomical. And now you've got to pause. Gold is valuable. Gold is a precious metal. Central banks are buying gold. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world. Gold is a great investment. Here's what you need to do to consider, converting an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Just text my name, Rob, to 989898. Rob to 989898. That's Birch Gold, by the way. Birch Gold is the company that I choose. They have my money. I can't think of a better endorsement than the host saying, I've invested what little money I have in this company because I believe in this company. I do. They've been advertising with us for a number of years, and they're a terrific company. That's why they're my choice. So text Rob to 989898 for Birch Gold. Gold is at $44.19 right now. It's an opportunity for you to buy. It's giving you a pause. It's tempting you. It's tempting you to buy. General Blaine Holt. So a lot of things happening. There was talk about possibility of putting boots on the ground at Carg Island. There was some Marines being transported over there. What do you know about that? It doesn't sound like that's. I don't know. You consider all the things that have happened the last 3 or 4 days with regard to just stomping the crap out of Iran, all of their capabilities. What have you heard with regard to the possibility of Marines being on the ground?
It's possible because the president needs to retain optionality. If the mullahs and the IRGC still exhibit signs of fight, we cannot have that oil infrastructure go up. And so let the fights and the media go wherever they want, but the 31st MEU is there to secure that island, and they could do so. And
they could do it. They could do it with
a dangerous mission. Yes, it is.
Yeah. I understand that. It's a lot of the left, they're screaming that the MAGA didn't vote for this and the MAGA coalition is crumbling. We found out that the MAGA coalition is 100% behind Donald Trump. There's no doubt about it. These people, Joe Kent and Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson are all outliers. MTG, all outliers. I saw a piece over the weekend. The NBC sent people out to gas pumps to talk to people. Are you mad at Donald Trump, essentially, for raising the price of gas with this? And they said, no, it's a price worth paying. It's a price worth paying when you consider that we've dealt with Iran as a war against us for 47 years, a price worth paying.
Yeah, I think it's really kind of backfiring in the Democratic and the globalist camp. It's a classic setup. You want to pitch one team against another team, and they're trying everything they can. Conservative against conservative, Jewish versus Christian, whatever the flavor of the day is that they want to split the baby on. But what I think is coming through, you may disagree with me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
What I think is coming through is that it's a big tent. There's lots of principles in this tent. We will have, and we have no problem openly debating issues. We have no problem. It's not the end of the party. It's the strengthening of the party, because there is room for a diaspora of opinions. Some will be more aggressive than others, and that's okay. What we want to do is keep going down the track the right way. And if anybody's got a problem with that, just remember, Kamala Harris could be the one calling the shots right now with her own auto.
Oh, dear God. I can't even imagine. I honestly could not imagine how bad the country would be off right now. The border would still be open. I would venture to say we would be on the verge of collapse if it hadn't collapsed already, had she been she won the election. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about what the Democrat Party had planned for the country. I did find something interesting. Did you see the reports on Friday that Iranians are tipping off Israeli intelligence about IRCG positions, and apparently Israeli intelligence is killing them with drones? So you got to imagine there's a little bit of fear in the hearts of those who are still loyal to cardboard Ayatollah. What do you think?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's full. It is full on panic, and it's actually far worse than that.
Really?
The communications now, the communications are getting robust with the folks who will emerge as the next Thomas Jeffersons and Paul Reveres of this country. And the Persians are fine people, and we'll see an Islamic Shia minority go back to what they were, a fairly insignificant minority in a multicultural country under a Persian banner that does its own picking of its leaders.
Brother, can you even imagine? Could you even imagine that we are witnessing this? I said that when Donald Trump was elected, we'd see freedom and patriotism sweep the world, and it is happening, And like in places like Germany, they're beginning to recognize the open border of the globalists. They did the same thing there. Australia the same way. England the same way. All of these things, and maybe we're beginning to turn the tide against all of this nonsense. Unfortunately, America, we still have many battles to fight. I was trying to think of one other thing I want to cover. What about Cuba? What's going on with Cuba? It sounds like they're teetering. It sounds like, I guess there have been some communications going on with Castro's grandson or something. What do you know about Cuba?
Yeah. So it's a desperate situation. The hope is that by extinguishing all lights, power, and everything, that you're finally the Cuban people are going to take this into their own hands. I would be cautious here because they can only go so long before real damage is done to that population. And so I hope that the administration has a plan B if they can't ouster this group like very, very soon. It's a humanitarian crisis right
100%, except for Code Pink. Code Pink went down there, got put up at a 5-star hotel because they're Code Pink, commie as in commie pinko. Blaine Holt, thanks for joining me today, bro. I appreciate your insights. Where can people find your glorious podcast, Dangerous Intellectuals?
Come to dangerousintellectuals.com. We just released today, and we're with Mr. Reagan, a.k.a. Christopher Coles, about the Cultural War and his making a comic episode called MAGA Man. It's great, but there's a fifth-generation warfare element to it, and I hope everybody will give it a look and give it a share.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself. Thanks for finding the time for us today. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. All right, kids. How are ya? Willard Clark and Gary McGovern and all of you guys watching on YouTube. Oh, it's been a crazy day. Crazier day than it should have been, to be quite honest. I don't know what the heck the deal is. It's just been kind of a crazy day. I had a couple bumps, but everything's worked out quite well. I think we're having a wonderful show. There's just so much stuff to get to today. You know, it's sometimes hard to weed it all down and cover it all because there's so much. Who's watching on Rumbly? Gary Madden. Biden's opening up a new tourist spot, the Sniftonian. Okay. Tom K, what's up? You guys are talking about Arkansas. Sportex says, I see gold going to $10,000. It's going to happen sooner or later. I don't know when it's going to happen, but yeah, it's going to happen sooner or later. No doubt about it. There's no doubt about it, bro. There's no doubt about it. Pat Carr says $150 billion given to Iran from Biden, another $100 billion, and victims of Hawaii and New York, North Carolina got $700 apiece. You're right. It's amazing. You're talking about my ghost bed. I slept on my ghost bed last night. Oh my God, it was amazing. My ghost bed was so good last night. Oh my God, it was. You won't believe. I'm going to tell you right now how many hours of sleep I got last night. It was believable. We got to talk here. Bill Maher. All right. Here we go. It's time for me to talk. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. Busy day. All right, here we go.
They're about 310 here.
I do believe if you pushed me between one or the other, I would say it's the Democrats who have marginalized the TSA agents in this instance. And I think it's horrible, the way in which they've been used, the TSA agents, as pawns. I flew twice this week, and without...
That is Michael Smerconish on CNN putting the blame of the shutdown in the TSA crisis on the shoulders of the Democrats. Because that's their fault. Because they're filthy, rotten scumbags. There you go. There you go. Hakeem Jeffries, he says that they aren't using... leverage is not even part of the equation.
Let me ask you about that, because you are... The whole reason, as you just laid out, that DHS is not funded right now is because you're trying to push the administration to enact some policy changes on how Border Patrol and ICE act when
they want
out,
ICE defunded and gotten rid of
for illegal immigrants. And now what you're saying is that you're okay with funding TSA, which has been, I think, the biggest point of leverage that you possibly had in order to get what you want on ICE, because ICE already has its money. So what was the point of this shutdown if you're okay with funding TSA?
Yeah.
Well, we never approach these things that are in front of us with respect to government funding in the context of leverage.
Really? That's not what Democrat Catherine Clark said during the last shutdown. This is last October.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have.
That's exactly what they use it for. Don't fool yourself. By the way, yesterday I was exhausted, and I couldn't wait to get into my my ghost bed last night. I went to bed at 7:30, and I woke up today at 7 o'clock. I slept 11 and a half hours. I needed it. And there's no way I would have slept on the old bed that I had, the sponge that I was sleeping on. The ghost bed, I needed sleep, and it gave me the sleep that I wanted. I would love to have you in my bed. Just go to ghostbed.com/Newsmax. Check out my bed. It is so good. Oh my goodness, it is so good. American-made ghost bed. Comes rolled up. You unroll it. It's a full, the one I have, a queen-size mattress, pillow-topped. Absolutely fantastic. Keeps you cool at night. It's not too hard. It's not too soft. And I slept almost 12 hours last night. Ghostbed.com/Newsmax for an additional 10% off spring savings. Ghostbed.com/Newsmax. You've got to get in my bed. I promise you, you're never going to sleep better. It's changing my life, I swear. Let's take a break and come back. Last hour of the Rob Carson Show, including Gordon Chang, is coming up. Don't go anywhere.
about to hear the most interesting, informative, thought-provoking, and funny show in America. On air and on the World Wide Web. This is the Rob Carson Show.
This is the Rob Carson Show, hour number 3. And first full weekend of spring, I guess we enjoyed. It was like, I got it like 80 degrees where I live yesterday. Welcome to spring, man. This has been a long winter. So we got a lot of things to get to this hour, including Gordon Chang's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. I want to mention again, we're doing this trip to D.C. October the 25th through the 29th, if you just tuned in. 5 days, 4 nights, accommodations, 4 nights, 6 meals, ground transportation, guides, gratuities, hotel stay, the whole deal. Going to go see the Lincoln Memorial, going to go to Arlington National Cemetery, see the Changing the Guard, which is the most amazing thing. And I was invited to meet the men who change the Guard. I met them in their barracks underneath this amphitheater there, and it was amazing. Oh, my gosh. It was amazing. So I wanted to have you come visit me this summer since I came here and brought you with me. So if you want to go and join me, again, it's October the 25th through the 29th, 5 days, 4 nights in D.C. It's going to be remarkable. Just go to travelwithrob.net, travelwithrob.net, and book your D.C. getaway and join me. I'm really looking forward. I'm taking days off to spend it with you. I'm not gonna be on the radio a couple days because I want to go to all of the monuments with you. I want to share my personal experience as well. 800-383-3131. 800-383-3131. This is the time to just celebrate our 250th anniversary of our country. This is perfect. Serendipity has brought us together, and Cruise and Tour is going to make it possible for you and me to do that. Okay. Man who fatally shot a Loyola University student is an illegal alien from Venezuela, released into the U.S. by the Biden regime. 18-year-old Loyola University student Sheridan Gorman shot and killed near the campus. Masked gunman approached a group of students walking in Rogers Park and shot her in the head. My God. 25-year-old illegal alien from Venezuela who entered the U.S. under the Biden regime, Jose Medina, took him into custody. 18-year-old woman. My God, if that was your daughter. I can't even imagine. This is what the Biden administration did to us. They opened our southern border for no good reason other than to destroy our country. And for votes. Of course, they wanted to upset the balance of power of the country. Because, see, the Democrat Party, they know Democrats are going to vote for them no matter what sort of absurdity they put upon you. But they need illegals to win the elections, and that's why they loaded up illegals with all sorts of largesse and made sure that they got free hotel rooms and all of this stuff. And now we're seeing massive corruption being exposed across the country to the tune of trillions of dollars. It's trillions of dollars. Donald Trump was on NBC this weekend talking about it. And as I've said, the left exposes its flanks so we can kick its ass. And that's what we're seeing right now. And we would have never known had Kamala Harris won the election, which she never would have, by the way. I knew as soon as she jumped in she was going to lose. That said, we now see all of this filth, rot, corruption, all of this. And we've got a long way to go before we gut this deep state. We've got a long way to go before we, see people go to jail for all of this nonsense. But here's Donald Trump being asked about the massive fraud in this country. And if we eliminated just 50% of it, we could balance our budget.
Minnesota and these other states, we have massive investigations going into fraud. Yeah. Do you know if we captured 50% of the fraud of this country right now, we would have better than a balanced budget. And you got to mention that Minnesota, $19 billion in fraud that we know about.
Yeah, and in California, they're talking $250 billion worth of fraud. Steve Forbes pulled no punches this weekend. He was on with Maria Bartiromo talking about Ilhan Omar. And Ilhan Omar, it's obvious she is corrupt. It's obvious that she has taken money from us. And every time you think about these Somalian shysters in Minnesota and across the country, realize that every penny that was stuffed in suitcases and sent overseas, every penny that bought these Bentleys and all this, was because you paid for it. You and I paid for it. We were suffering for years. We've been suffering for years, eating the crumbs thrown at us from Washington, D.C. I heard a report yesterday. There were Somalians getting $2,500, $2,700 a month from Social Security, while Social Security recipients who've been paying their entire lives got $2,200. It is such an absurdity. It is such an outrage. Such an outrage. And there's only one reason that Ilhan Omar and her husband became so filthy, stinking rich. It's because America has become an oligarchy. You know, it all started back when Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton left office. All of a sudden, they're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama never had a job in their lives. Michelle Obama's never had a job in her life. Barack Obama's a spoiled, entitled child who grew up in Hawaii, went to a privileged little school, had white grandparents raise him, and then moved to Chicago to become sort of a community organizer. Never had a job in his life, ever. But you and I, we bust our butts, man. We've done everything. We drive trucks. We weld, take care of people in nursing homes. We plant crops. We're deep sea fishermen. We bust our butts every single day, and sometimes have to work 2 or 3 jobs. And now we've got thousands and thousands of people here. Not here even, some of them not here legally, came here to steal from us. And here is Steve Forbes talking about Ilhan Omar, obviously a criminal.
Weird is not the word for it. There's another word for it called crooked. And that's why we have to have an investigation into this. As you know, the Biden administration started examining her finances and that of her husband. And so surprise, surprise, that investigation went nowhere. But it's amazing how people can go into Congress and then become these entrepreneurial investing geniuses where they come in. She had under $1,000 of net worth and her husband didn't have much, and suddenly now they're multimillionaires. Is there a money laundering operation here? And in terms of the firms themselves, they have a sketchy background. That winery in California. That
all it took was somebody going to the winery. The address on the winery, they found out there's no wine there. There's nothing there. Last week, a young woman went to the office of his investment company, Ilhan Omar's husband's investment company, found it was one of those office suites where you go and you rent a cubicle. You rent a little office for $500 a month, $1,000 a month, and you put your name up on the board there, and that's your office. Well, he didn't even have a sign. He didn't even have an office. It wasn't even listed on the directory. It was just the address. There's nothing there. He's supposed to be handling like $30 billion in investments. Nobody could find any companies that have invested in him. All he's doing is taking money from us.
She and her husband own. Where did that come from? Where's the wine there? And nobody can seem to find it. So there's a lot of smelly stuff here, and that's why in the American Dream, her version of the American Dream is the Al Capone version of the American Dream, Tony Soprano version of the American Dream, and that is steal it from the taxpayer.
This is our money. We should be so supremely pissed about all of this nonsense. Katie Miller is Stephen Miller's wife, and she has a podcast. She had Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche on saying, when are we going to start seeing some arrests?
Why haven't we arrested?
Not just fraudulent, not just fraudsters, but deep staters who've abused the American people, Trump followers, Donald Trump himself, his administration.
Clapper, Comey, Brennan, so many traitors to our country. Why haven't we done more to hold people accountable?
I think that well, first of all, I'm not going to talk about any ongoing investigations, and I can't, but I think the Attorney General and myself, Director Patel, are focused on nothing more than accountability.
These are people who waged witch hunts against President Trump for only political purposes. Yet, I'm sure they're all guilty of committing various crimes, which I know you can't comment on, so we'll give you a pass. But don't you agree that we should hold people accountable who do these types of things?
I think there's nothing more important in the Department of Justice than accountability. Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, well, let's get on it. I want to see people handcuffed and perped walk. I want to see Keith Ellison handcuffed and perped walk. I want to see Ilhan Omar denaturalized and sent out of the country, out of Congress, gone. I want details on this. This is our money, for God's sake. We're $39 trillion in debt because of this nonsense. And people have gotten filthy, stinking rich, stealing from us, not assimilating to our culture, not giving a damn about us. People have got to go to jail. This is just ridiculous. Listen to this. This is Lee Zeldin. You remember the green energy nonsense that Joe Biden ushered in? Canadian bus company, school bus company. By the way, electric school buses are pieces of crap. They do not perform at all. You end up paying like $3.50 a mile for every mile. They're garbage. They're garbage. We spent $160 million on EV buses from a company in Canada. Guess how many we got? None.
I'll give you one more really quickly. There was $160 million that went to a Canadian electric vehicle bus manufacturer. The Biden administration sent all of the money. Now, you might say, hey, just produce the school bus and then we'll pay you. Or if you need some partial payments along the way, we'll give some money that makes sense.
Right.
They gave all the money up front. Well, guess what? They just declared bankruptcy. They still haven't provided $95 million worth of school buses to 55 school districts. It's the American taxpayer that gets screwed.
Yeah, this is
Yeah. The same thing went with the promise that Joe Biden was going to electrify the Postal Service vehicles, all those little Jeeps, they got. They were going to replace all of those vehicles. They were getting, I think, $6 billion for thousands of these EV Jeeps. Almost none have been delivered because they're garbage. And when are we going to start holding people accountable and sending people to bloody prison for this nonsense? Honestly, there should be hundreds of people right now being indicted, under trial, and off to jail for a good share, if not their entire lives. This is going to have to happen. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show.
When you're a man who calls himself a girl, it can be a bonus. When you compete with women, you have to hide. Ooh, that pair of cojones. I can cycle against the girls, that's my choice. I can steal their medals with this manly voice, 'cause the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel like a transgender woman. When I compete with females, I'm the one that's feared, 'cause I'm the only person in the race with a beard. But somehow I feel the left makes me feel, they make me feel like a transgender woman. When you're a man who calls himself a girl, it can be a bonus. When you compete with women, you have to hide. Ooh, that pair of cojones. I can cycle against the girls, that's my choice. I can steal their medals with this manly voice, 'cause the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel, the left makes me feel like a transgender woman. When I compete with females, I'm the one that's feared, 'cause I'm the only person in the race with a beard. But somehow I feel the left makes me feel, they make me feel like a transgender woman.
Howdy.
You have now this guy, Joe Kent. He quit this week. It was a big story. I think he was the counterintelligence guy. And he said, I can't go along with this because, you know what, he's been listening to too much Tucker Carlson. It's, you know, the Jews made us do it. It's just another version of anti-Semitism that comes out. First it was BDS, then it was their colonizers and genocide, which it wasn't, and all these other reasons, like you can't have a state in the world that's based on religion, even though there's like 46 Muslim countries that are based on religion. Some have the name right in the title of the country. But whatever it is, you have all these, and now the big answer is, no, Israel made us do it. We're Israel's bitch. I don't think we're Israel's bitch. I think we're Israel's ally. But, you know, if I have to be on one side of this MAGA thing, either Trump or Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and Nick Fuentes, I'll be with Trump on this.
Wow. Well, and his audience applauded. Oh, my gosh. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? You want to hear something else from Bill Maher? Actually having the kind of the voice of reason. Here's the thing. This is just common sense. This isn't liberal or conservative. This isn't liberal or conservative. This is just common sense. We can have common ground with common sense.
Israel's the only place where they had the deal on the table in 1947. Let's split up the country. The Jews were like, okay, we'll do that. We'll take half. Israel was very small the way it was originally drawn up. They said, no, we'll attack you and try to kill you and take it all. They failed. Then they attacked again in 56 and 67 and 73, and they are still attacking. They could have peace so easily. Just stop attacking.
There you go. Yeah, and this is why I'm on Israel's side. Hey, you're a Zionist. Yeah, hell yeah, I'm a Christian Zionist. I don't even care. Of course, I'm a supporter of Israel. Dear God, they have the geographical equivalent of a fingernail clipping surrounded by their enemies. And I support Israel because they're a force for good in the Middle East, and Iran is not. And Iran is going down in a ball of flames, ladies and gentlemen. And Democrats are going to look like fools when all is said and done. You know, I was thinking this weekend, I did a little bit of viral video and whatnot about why the Democrat Party doesn't want voter ID, and it's very obvious, and it was all, I mean, it's so transparent at this point. There's really no denying it anymore. It's very transparent. They don't want voter ID because they want illegals to vote. Hakeem Jeffries said that he didn't want illegals, he didn't want ICE near hospitals, schools, churches, or polling places, and this is the obvious statement that I made this weekend. Don't want ICE near hospitals because illegals go get treatment there. Don't want them near churches because they go to worship there. Don't want them near schools because their kids go to school there. Don't want them near polls because they vote there. Duh. Everything that the Democrat Party does broadcasts that they don't want free and fair elections. They want to win elections by stealing elections. That's why that's why they support such absurdity, like transgenderizing children, when 95% of the population don't want it. That's why Democrats can say no voter ID, even though 85% of Americans want voter ID. Because they can win elections by not listening to the American people and just expecting Democrats to vote for them and then make up the difference with illegals. Here is Stephen Miller.
At the beginning of this administration, we asked every state, red and blue, to share with us their voter rolls so that we could scrub it against the DHS file of illegal aliens to remove illegal aliens from their voting rolls.
Because they shouldn't be on there.
Every blue state refused.
Really?
California refused. Minnesota refused. New York refused. In fact, they sued us to stop us from removing illegal aliens from the voter rolls, removing non-citizens from the voter rolls. But that's not just the only thing. They don't want to get dead people off the rolls. No. They don't want to get felons off the rolls.
But they say that there's no voter theft. There's no vote theft in the country. Bullcrap. Here is Mazie Hirono using an idiotic line about why we don't need to require an ID. Because it's already illegal not to vote if you're here illegally, duh.
Non-citizen voting in federal elections is already illegal.
So's murder, but people still do it.
It is a federal crime. If a non-citizen...
Oh, this woman is so stupid. I mean, honestly, it takes a certain degree of intelligence just to keep your breathing going. I think she's hooked up to a ventilator.
...illegally votes in a federal election, they could be prosecuted and even sentenced up to 5 years in prison. Who is going to commit this kind of fraud knowing that they could be in prison for 5 years?
Okay, here is Mike Lee setting the record straight. Responding to her idiocy.
They have instead said we don't need the Save America Act because, and this one is a kicker, because it's already against the law.
Yeah, of course.
That, Mr. President, under these circumstances is analogous to saying we don't need a law allowing police to issue citations and monitor traffic at intersections governed by a stop sign.
Yeah, we could end crime if we just made crime illegal.
Because it's already against the law in our state to run a stop sign. And even though police officers under the status quo are prohibited from monitoring intersections and taking note of...
Yeah, you get the point. You get the point. Here's Mike Lee talking about the potential that Democrats want since they opened the southern border.
What I do believe is that there are at least tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands, by the time all the research is done, of people who have registered to vote in elections in one state or another. Because
so many were given Social Security cards, 11 million of them, when they came across the southern border by the Biden administration.
Regardless of how many of those have voted in the past.
And in places like California, you can't look into voter fraud, so you can vote all you want. You'll never be tried. You will never be tried if you vote, even if you're illegal.
We have to remember that there are 30 million plus non-citizens in this country, 10 or 15 million of whom came into this country illegally between 2021 and 2024 alone. So regardless of how many may have voted in the past, what you have to look for is how many have registered and how many could register if we don't close this gap. Because, Maria, all you have to do right now, if you're a non-citizen, legal or not legal, go into a DMV in almost any state, fill out a driver's license application form, and then check a box and sign your name saying that you are certified to, you are legally allowed to vote.
Why don't Democrats want ICE near polling places? Duh. It's very simple, and all it takes is a little bit of common sense. You know it, and I know it. It's time to beat back these excuses that we're somehow xenophobic, we're racist, we're whatever, because every time they say those things, it exposes who they really are. And this party, I got to tell you, your Democrat Party, you'd better hope that it reforms itself, or you need to consider another party, Democrats. This is an 80-20 issue. 80% of us believe the country was headed in the wrong direction. 80% of us want the country to come together. 80% of us, at least 85% of us want voter ID. At least that many people want us to debate the issues and side with one side or the other. That's it. Okay, whether you're left or right, instead of having elections stolen. Gordon Chang joins us next to talk about China and other things. Don't go anywhere. This fall, you're invited to experience Washington, D.C. in a truly unforgettable way with me, Rob Carson, and other Newsmax listeners. Imagine strolling through our nation's capital as America celebrates 250 years and seeing history come alive with an expert guide. Together, we'll tour the White House Visitor Center, step into the halls of democracy with a guided tour of the U.S. Capitol building, visit Arlington National Cemetery and the changing of the guard, stand in awe before the towering figure of President Abraham Lincoln, and take in the beauty of D.C.'s legendary memorials with a special nighttime illumination tour. Our adventure includes premium hotel accommodations for 4 nights in the heart of D.C., in addition to 6 meals, ground transportation guides, and gratuities. Space is limited, so don't wait. Visit travelwithrob.net to book your D.C. getaway today, or give our friends at Cruise and Tour a call at 800-383-3131. That's 800-383-3131 or travelwithrob.net.
you're illegal alien in the United States, this message is for you. You cannot hide from ICE.
Avoiding ICE ain't easy. Illegals are so sleazy. Tom Holman set them straight. To ICE should be reporting. You should be self-deporting. Leaving will be your fate. Back home is where you're headed. That's safe to say. And you won't make a stop along the way. No longer can you stay here. You've seen your final day here. 'Cause you've committed crime. Avoiding ICE ain't easy. It is far from easy. Avoiding ICE ain't easy anytime.
Hey guys, it's Carson. I just got a ghost bed. Yeah, no, pay attention here, because I've been sleeping on a foam mattress since I moved to the Washington, D.C. area, which is like sleeping on the sponge in your sink. Ghost Bed doesn't build mattresses like furniture. They build engineered sleep systems. Their beds are serious health equipment. Beds designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing while you sleep, not fighting for comfort. I have been sleeping past 7 in the morning on my Ghost Bed. It's unbelievable. If you wake up stiff, you toss and turn, if you sleep hot, even reaching for a pain reliever before bed, hoping tonight will be different, that's not aging. It's your mattress talking. Another great thing I love about Ghost Bed, you get 101 nights to try it at home. If you don't like the difference, you can send it back risk-free. Ghost Bed is offering my audience their lowest prices of the season, plus an extra 10% off. Go to ghostbed.com/Carson. Use promo code Carson. That's ghostbed.com/Carson. Promo code Carson. You are going to love your new Ghost Bed.
Well, top of the morning to you. I'm Ronald O'Reagan.
And I'm Ted O'Kennedy.
When Irish eyes are bloodshot, you've had one too many drinks. Well, your speech started slurring, and your breath begins to sting. Take it away, Ted O'Kennedy.
It's a Monday edition of the Rob Carson Show. Joining us on the Newsmax hotline is Gordon Chang at Twitter on Gordon G. Chang. I watch his Twitter feed constantly. I see him everywhere on all sorts of news programming, including, of course, Newsmax, and he joins us right now on the Newsmax hotline. How are you today, sir?
I'm fine, Rob. How are you?
I'm good. A lot of things going on, a lot of balls in the air with regard to the Middle Eastern conflict. Obviously, a lot of oil gets to China through the Straits of Hormuz. Donald Trump is playing a little bit of 3D chess over there. He's allowed some oil to go through to China, which will provide, assuming, a little bit of relief. What do you know about the oil supply reaching China and how it has impacted the Chinese people?
Well, certainly the war has impacted the price of oil. It's rocked the Chinese economy. Initially, gasoline prices were up 11%. Diesel prices, more important to the economy, were up 13.5%. And then the National Development and Reform Commission, which is the powerful government agency, essentially prohibited any more export of crude oil or refined products out of China. So we know that this has affected them quite a lot. Matter of fact, the effect has been so great that China, which has been mired in deflation for about more than 3 years, it may turn into an inflationary environment overnight. This month, analysts are saying, because the oil price shocks are so high, they've affected China.
Boy, you look at the totality of everything that Donald Trump has done to China versus Joe Biden. Joe Biden basically bent over and took it from China for many years, giving them everything they essentially wanted. You've got not only this happening, but you've also got tariffs and offshoring manufacturing from China back into the United States. It doesn't sound like things are going to get any better anytime soon for China. It doesn't sound like they're in a position of power in a lot of different ways. Their economy is suffering, and I think it hasn't Taiwan. It's kind of off the table, at least for now.
Yeah, Taiwan's off the table for now, I believe. And the reason is that Xi Jinping has decimated the leadership of the People's Liberation Army. And to invade Taiwan, it involves combined air, land, sea operation. You need a lot of senior officers. Mm-hmm. Those guys are gone. Also, we found out from both Venezuela and Iran that the Chinese military equipment, at least its export versions, is pretty awful.
Really?
Not effective against an advanced military like ours. So I think that the Chinese are starting to understand their vulnerabilities. That's not to say that the Chinese won't blunder into a war. Xi Jinping is perfectly capable of doing that. But the one thing we don't have to worry about is Xi Jinping waking up some morning and saying, we're invading the main island of Taiwan.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen for a little while.
I was looking at a couple different sources. China urging the U.S. and Israel to stop military action in the Middle East, warns of a vicious cycle. Those words from China mean nothing. I certainly don't mean anything to Donald Trump or Israel with regard to this. But why is China so desperate for this conflict to end? Other than that, I mean the most obvious with regard to energy.
Well, that's a really important question you ask. And it basically is the Chinese economy now, the only hope for growth is more export sales. Now, to do that, they need a calm world. But because China has been roiling the world with its support for Russia and Ukraine, for Iran in the Middle East, for the insurgencies in North Africa that look like wars, for Pakistan's assault on its neighbors, the world is roiled. And that's a deglobalizing world. That's a world where it's going to be more difficult for China to sell its products.
Yeah.
So China, which was the biggest beneficiary of peace, is now sort of ending peace.
Yeah.
And they think they can get some short-term advantages, and I'm sure they're right, but long-term, this is death for the Chinese economy and probably for the political system as well.
Well, you're the guy who called it, man. You called it years ago, the coming fall, the coming collapse of China, and I have been talking to you about this for years. They got away with crushing the rebellion at the Tiananmen Square while a Berlin Wall fell that same year. Maybe it took us 37 years to get here. You mentioned the story about drones. I saw a couple drone stories this weekend. I was wondering which ones you were regarding. There's some drones spotted over the D.C. base where Rubio and Hegseth live. There have been some other stories of multiple waves of drones recently spotting it over a strategic U.S. Air Force base, this being in Louisiana. What do you know about this, Gordon Chang?
Yeah, there are 4 bases that have had significant drone sightings this month. You referred to Fort McNair, which is where both the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State live. There's MacDill, which is in Tampa. That's the home of Central Command. There's one in my state, New Jersey, that's McGuire Fort Dix Lakehurst. But the story that is really important is Barksdale Air Force Base near Shreveport, Louisiana.
Okay.
Here's the home of Global Strike. It's the headquarters of 2 legs of the U.S. nuclear triad. A lot of B-52s exposed on the flight line. They've had these enormous drones, which are unjammable, by the way, loiter over the field. This is a warning that, and this is, we don't know who exactly are behind these, but it's probably China.
Yeah.
And because China really is the one with the resources and the ambition to engage in these drone flights. But whoever it is, basically what they're saying is that they can take out a large portion of the U.S. At will. And actually, Rob, I sort of believe them.
Really?
Our Pentagon has been clueless in terms of defending bases on the homeland. So if there's a war in Asia or someplace, we're going to lose a lot of our U.S. military bases in the U.S.
Wow. Gordon, where are these drones coming from? I know that we are going after Cuba because of China's influence in Cuba. We got the Panama Canal back because China was taking over the Panama Canal. China also invested in Venezuela. Where do you suppose, are they flying these drones out of? Where are they basing these? Are they basing it at sea? Are they basing it in one of these proxy countries? Where do you suppose they're coming from?
Well, when you think about MacDill, Fort McNair, and Shreveport, those drones are coming from the United States. The ones at McGuire, Fort Dix, those could be coming over the Atlantic, but I don't know. But if anybody knows where those drones are coming, they should talk to law enforcement immediately.
Well, listen, I heard a report this weekend. I heard there were 1,800 or 18,000 to 180,000 Chinese military-age males got across the southern border while Joe Biden was the president, and they are just waiting for their marching orders. What do you know about that?
Yeah, we don't know the number, but we do know that they've got networks of agents, operatives, and soldiers, and there's a substantial number of them.
Wow.
And I think that our government. I'm of course furious at the Chinese for doing this, but I'm much more furious at our own government because first of all they let them in, and now they don't seem to be doing too much about that. Yeah. So this is the number one national security threat to the U.S. Wow. And it is something where there is almost no visible activity on the part of our government.
All right. Well,
I just don't know what's going on, Rob.
Yeah.
But people should be calling the White House right now and screaming at the operator.
I swear. Well, we're going to have to be very vigilant about all of this. We are a well-armed populace. We need to be very vigilant. We need to aware of our surroundings of anything suspicious like this. The Democrat Party let the enemy in our country. They let the enemies of our country into our country, and they are here, and they are waiting just for some degree of marching orders, whether that be radical Islamists or the Chinese Communist Party and the Red Army. Let's take a break and come back, Gordon Chang. I want you to talk to you a little bit about Vietnam because I heard the possibility that Vietnam could be like Cuba falling. I want to know your thoughts on that on the other side of the break, if you don't mind. Let's take a break and come back. Yep. This is the Rob Carson Show. More with Gordon Chang in one moment at Twitter at Gordon G. Chang. Gold price to struggle as official reserve accumulation is not a central bank priority right now. Really, what does that mean? It means that you snooze, you lose when it comes to the central banks. They were buying up gold left and right. All of a sudden, gold not a priority. Price of gold is down to $44.60. What does that mean for you? Opportunity. $5,600 an ounce or $4,400 an ounce. What do you want to buy in at? Right now, it's at $4,400. If you're planning on adding gold to your portfolio with Birch Gold, the company that I have invested my money in, opportunity is knocking. Might as well take advantage of it while the rest of the world snoozes. They are still talking about $6,000 gold by the year's end. Maybe you need to at least get some information today. How about that? Just text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold. If you haven't considered gold before, you certainly should now. The last 20 years have been an example of how gold has gone through the ceiling. The last 2 years has been absolutely meteoric, with gold reaching $5,600 in January, which was only a couple months ago. And right now it's saying, come and buy me at $5,459 today. Text my name, Rob, to 989898 for Birch Gold, a A-plus rating from the BBB. And they have my money. They have what little money I have. I don't have a lot, but I've got it invested in Birch Gold because I believe in this company. And if I didn't, I wouldn't invest my money. Again, text Rob to 989898 for Birch Gold. Here's John Solomon.
In Great Britain, when they learned China was hacked, or when China had hacked their voter registration database, the intelligence community there put their country first. They made it public. They corrected it. There were great recriminations. There was a national crisis. In this country, leftists in the intelligence community buried that notion. We know that because the ombudsman for the intelligence community said he found the evidence, he found the receipts, he found the goods that said that the intelligence community hated Donald Trump. They called him a vulgarian, and they were intent on not letting him.
What he's saying basically is China interfered in our elections in 2020. I've been watching a lot of John Solomon lately, Gordon Chang. What do you have to say about China being involved in our elections? Certainly they wanted Joe Biden in office in 2020 and certainly wanted him in office again, or at least Kamala Harris, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, first of all, we know that they wanted Biden to win over Bernie Sanders in the Democratic Party primaries. They got that.
Yep.
They wanted Biden over Trump in the general, and they got that. And you don't need to be in the intelligence community to know that China messed in the 2020 national election.
Yes.
Because the New York Times reported about that, as did other news outlets.
Yeah.
So China's involvement in social media and text messages where they were trying to disrupt President Trump's campaign is obvious. And so, you don't need a security clearance. And this is important because this was out there, and yet our intelligence community, our government, did nothing about it in the Biden years.
Of course. I had heard this weekend, and I have some friends who work in the military and whatnot, and they don't tell me everything, but, we're seeing some things happening. We're seeing Venezuela, obviously, Maduro's gone. Cuba is on the verge of collapse. And somebody had mentioned to me the possibility that this could happen to Vietnam. What have you heard about Vietnam's economy as a communist country? We don't hear much about them.
Well, they've got a booming economy.
Do they? Okay.
And sometimes it's too good, which leads to all sorts of problems, which is not good for stability of a regime.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, there's a lot of governments you can put in the category of maybe not here tomorrow, but I wouldn't put Vietnam in that list.
Really? Okay. Well, I wanted to just ask the question. Somebody, and I didn't know if they knew something that I didn't know. There's a good chance of that happening. So you're saying Vietnam tends to be rock solid. I think you had mentioned something about North Korea. What's going on with North Korea these days now that China is suffering so much?
Yeah, North Korea is really interesting. Kim Jong-un has been beneficiary of a period of quiet. No one's bothering him.
Yeah.
The Russians are making him wealthy. And so he's had a lot of time to just sort of relax, get on the beach chair. What the important thing that's going on there, from what we can see, is that, first of all, he is pressuring South Korea right now, which he doesn't really have to do because South Korea is run by, essentially by communists. But the other thing is that he's trying to get a succession to his daughter, which would be the fourth Kim ruler, and this would be the first to a female. So This is interesting. Now, it's not confirmed that this is what he's doing, but what he is doing is consistent with the notion that he wants his daughter to succeed him.
I hear she's pretty ruthless, actually, so as though it could get any worse for the people of North Korea. Gordon Chang, thank you so much for finding the time to talk to us today. Always appreciate your expertise. You are on Twitter at Gordon G. Chang. And then, of course, is there anything else, anywhere else people can find your glorious work? Obviously, your books are available on Amazon.
Yeah, I archive my articles for free on my website, which is www.gordonchang.com.
All right, brother. Thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it. Let's take a break and come back. This is The Rob Carson Show. Wow. Sometimes I got to pinch myself. I got to speak to people like Gordon Chang. It's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy. Hi, guys. How are ya? Diesel 76.9 a gallon where I live. That is, that's probably California, right? It's dreadful. And I don't understand the price of diesel because diesel is one step above kerosene. Unbelievable. Oh, California, yeah. California is a mess, beyond mess, to be quite honest. Ridiculous. Chris Schwab says cigarettes, $41 a carton. I was at the 7-Eleven. I don't even know what cigarettes cost now. I think they're like $8 or $10 a pack. Who smokes cigarettes anyway? I guess a few people do, right? I smelled one this weekend. I was driving by. There was a guy standing smoking a cigarette. And I'm not a smoker, but I didn't mind the smell. It's like a good cigar. I love a good cigar. Only have one every few months, but I do love them so much. Let's see what we got here. I'm looking at you guys. Action Expert 1001. You're new. Glad to have you here. Jen in 4H. Good to see you there. Haven't seen you there. Got a lot of new people being added constantly to the ranks of the watchers on the social media feeds. Lemonade, hello. My ghost bed is amazing, by the way. You asked about that. It is. I love it. I love it. It is the best thing in the world. It's the best best bed I've ever had. I swear to God. Oh, Scarecrow says I'm a secondhand smoker too. Yeah. 90% of the ingredients from our medicine in China. Yeah, from China. You're right. You're exactly right. All right, I got to wrap things up here. Hold on. Here we go. What are we going to talk about here? Oh, that's good. Here we go. All right, kids, we got about another 4.5 minutes of the show. I did mention that we have a trip to Washington, D.C., October the 25th through the 29th this year for the 250th anniversary of our country's birth, and I wanted to do a trip with you guys to here. We were offered some other possibilities, and they said, what about D.C.? You probably don't want to do a trip to D.C. since you live in D.C., and I said, are you kidding me? I mean, literally, I said, Greece, no. Iceland, no. Europe, no. Not interested. I want my listeners to come to Washington, D.C. I wanted you to be here because D.C. is becoming the beautiful jewel that it was supposed to be. It really is. It's remarkable the turnaround. So what's coming up is October the 25th through the 29th, 5 days, 4 nights. We have, this includes your accommodations and a good share of your meals, among other things. 6 gourmet meals, guides, gratuities. Space is limited. Don't wait. Go to travelwithrob.net, travelwithrob.net. You're going to get a guided tour of the Capitol building. Visit Arlington National Cemetery, changing of the guard, stand in awe at the statue of Abraham Lincoln and the Lincoln Memorial. Look over the reflecting pool. Stand at the base of the Washington Monument. It's so, guys, I never get tired of it. The World War II monument is the only monument that really puts into perspective the size and awe of the conflict. The Vietnam War Memorial, the FDR Memorial, the Korean War Memorial. Oh my gosh. The mall. We're going to go down to the National Mall. We're going to see some of the museums. It's going to be amazing. This is the time to be here. It's the 250th year. I'm here. I brought you with me. Now you come and meet me, okay? So to find out details on it, travelwithrob.net, travelwithrob.net, or write down this number, and you better do it quickly because I know this is going to sell out because everything I do sells out. 800-383-3131. 800-383-3131. I know your time and your money are valuable to you. I know you work hard for your money. We're going to make it worth every bit of your time. It's going to be amazing, okay? TravelWithRob.net, October 25th through the 29th. Talk it over with your SEG. So you want to go hang out with Carson, and we are going to have the time of our lives. I promise you this. I'm taking time off. I'm promising you this. I want to wrap things up with something funny. Piers Morgan had a Great Britain politician on, and they were debating absurd things about men and women.
Can a woman have a penis? Yes. It's going to take them a long time on the National Health Service to get rid of it, but that's another separate problem. All right. I think we'll leave it on a woman can have a penis. People can I think you're lacking nuance and complexity about a pretty complicated conversation.
This is how absurd the left has gotten, not only here but around the world. That 6 years ago, if you would have said a woman can have a penis, you would have been, this is ridiculous. And there are some people think that, you're a fool for not believing a woman can have a male sex organ.
Being clearer. I'm clear because actually when you want to look at the science...
You were crystal clear. You say if you look at the science is that if you have a penis, you're a man.
Yes. It's a simple question. But you're laughing at it, which I think means...
Yes, of course, because you're absurd.
Absolutely ridiculous. What have you got against trans people? Why are you punching down?
Well, see, there you go. What are you got against trans people? Because trans people aren't trans. They're just people who are playing dress up.
Are you not saying...
You can't change your sex. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry. It sucks, but just the way it is.
I've already told you that I think trans people... You sound like you have a huge problem with trans people. No. It sounds to me like you don't understand what a woman is, which I think is a huge problem for someone leading a party in this country.
A
woman is a gender.
It is not. It's so ridiculous, honestly. And this is, again, the Democrat Party hasn't learned anything from 2024. And this fall's election is once again going to be about common sense and normal versus abnormal. That's it. Common sense versus nonsense, abnormal versus normal, and trust me, 80% of us are coming together again to save America. 80% of us, 85% of us want voter ID so we can have free and fair elections and we can actually have issues decide the elections rather than illegals. Issues, not illegals. Oh my God, I just came up with a great slogan. Holy cow. Wow, that's amazing. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. God bless you. America's founded. What Donald Trump is doing it. Our soldiers who are kicking butt in harm's way. And until tomorrow, which is Tuesday, do not catch the stupid. God bless you guys. I love you. See ya.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.